I'm Rick Howard, president of Kingdom Magic Vacations. In my job, I get to travel a lot. I explore the world on land and sea, eating in unique restaurants and discovering interesting locations. I'm always looking for new places to visit, and I want you to travel with me. Welcome to Travel with Rick. Well, hey guys, we've got a really great show for you this week and got a really great friend. You guys know this guy, Rhino Ken.
What's happening, Rick?
Hey buddy, it's all good. No, it's not Food and Wine Festival, is it?
No, it's not.
But we've got Rhino Ken on here for a reason. I hear you just went on an adventure by Disney.
I did. It's sort of like a special assignment almost for
Very
Travel
cool.
with Rick.
Awesome. Cameras rolling and everything, huh?
A little bit of camera rolling. But
nice.
my wife and I went to Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia.
And you told me about, you guys are getting ready to go. I was just so excited for you. As you guys know, we love Adventures by Disney, and now I know they're hooked, and I can't wait to hear more about your adventure. But Adventures by Disney is an immersive, all-inclusive vacation to incredible locations around the world. As most of you probably know that watch our show, John, our camera guy, and I just got back from Ireland. We've been to great adventures by Disney with my family, like Germany. Of course, our Quest for the West adventure, where we discovered our favorite place in the world now, or at least Leslie's favorite place in the world, Brooks Lake Lodge, where we go snowmobiling every year now. We've been to France, and we've been to gosh, where else have we been? Leslie's been to Backstage Magic, which Tony Casanova and I, by the time you guys are seeing this, are probably already on or are back from. So there are adventures by Disney literally all over the world. They're just incredible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, we go ahead.
I was going to say, you've done other tours before.
Yeah.
Right? This is not your first guided tour package kind of thing, right?
No, not at all. We've been pretty good world travelers, Africa and Central America, and
that's where the whole Rhino Ken thing came from that we discovered on a few past Travel with Rick episodes.
Yeah. So we've been on other tour groups before. This is our first one with Adventures by Disney, and I gotta say, talk about doing those finishing touches that make a big difference when you're traveling, especially to a country or to an area that you're not familiar with. Boy, it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, just whether it be just a bottle of water or handling the porters or the local guides for you, and those little things when on other tours you got to pay extra for that stuff,
right.
Or you're sort of on your own in a way.
You kind of are on your own a lot of times, and that's the thing I love about Adventures by Disney is their attention to detail. They really don't leave anything out. Now, what they do include, just so you know, there will be times during your tour, I don't know, different tours are different ways, and there will be times during your tour that maybe a certain meal is not included. Maybe a dinner in one city or a lunch in another city. And that's so you can kind of get out on your own away from the group, because a lot of people ask for that. Even though you're traveling with a group, and you kind of bond with the group. It's an interesting dynamic, right? And we'll get into that more as we go along. But, you're traveling with anywhere from 20 to 40 people in a group. Max is about 40 with Disney. And so this kind of becomes your extended family during the group. But still, if you're traveling with your family, and you're in, Killarney, Ireland, as John and I were, you may just want to get out and discover a restaurant and have just a dinner on your own or a lunch on your own in a certain place. And so there will be times for that, as well as times that you spend with the group, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the same holds true for the Southeast Asia trip. The only difference is this was actually the first time they were running this trip.
Okay.
So we were on the maiden voyage of the Southeast Asia trip.
The inaugural.
The inaugural trip. So it was really cool. It was actually a much smaller group. It was only 20 of us.
Interesting.
As part of it. But you're right. There were a couple days where they made sure that you were kind of on your own to explore the cities that you were in and the areas. But again, those little touches of, here's some places that we recommend for
Absolutely.
you. We know these places use purified water for the ice. I mean, that's
important.
Really important. As if you want a great vacation, listen to that and make sure you do that.
Sure. Sure. And one of the things, like for example, when we were in France, or even when John and I were in Ireland, when I was in France with our family, the guides, they get a night off once in a while too. So maybe the night and the dinner is on your own in town. So you can just go and discover the Arc de Triomphe if you're in Paris, which is one of the nights that we did. And we had a nice little dinner at a sidewalk cafe in Paris. But it's the night off for the guides too, because they're on tour too for 7, 8, 12, maybe even longer days on some of the tours. So even though it's their night off, the last thing that they do with each family is go to that family and say, okay, what are you guys doing? Can we make some suggestions? Here's a list for you. Here's what we know. Here's what we like. And they may not know everything in the city. We brought them some choices, and they said, oh, we don't know about that, but here's where you go. Let us know how it is. So, and they check with every family. Don't stay in your hotel. You're in Paris. Go out and explore. Go out and discover. They're making sure that each family knows where they're going, knows what they're doing, and has a plan for the evening, right?
Absolutely. And on top of that, I felt like I was traveling with my own paparazzi, because they took so many pictures that oftentimes when my wife and I travel, sometimes we don't always get those pictures of just us somewhere.
Sure.
We're doing the hold the camera out and trying
Absolutely.
to take a picture, or asking a passerby to take the photo.
Right.
Here, I felt like they were constantly taking photos,
Right.
and forcing us. Sometimes you feel like, I don't want to. It's kind of, maybe that's a little cheesy or something like that. But it's like, how many times are you going to get back to Vietnam or get back to that part of the world? It's like, no, you do this and you take a photo, and it's like, you know what? We're so glad we did.
Right. Some of these trips are once in a lifetime. John is so happy that he has a photo kissing the Blarney Stone in Ireland, right? Because I was videotaping it. I didn't have his cell phone or his camera to get a picture of him. But you know what? Our Disney guide did. And when we got back, we got our PhotoPass thing. All the photos were online. John emailed me. He's like, dude, guess what? I got a picture of me kissing the Blarney Stone. I bet you're probably seeing it right now. It was the coolest thing. It was really, really awesome. And, and that's what happens. Think about it, guys. A lot of times you're on tour, you're on vacation with your family, and it seems like one person's always out of the photo. Dad's taking the photo, mom's taking the photo, somebody's missing, or like you say, you're grabbing a passerby. John and I were in Paris, and I'm trying to explain to this elderly Parisian man how to work my iPhone, and we got a photo of his thumb. Yeah, we did. But and he didn't really understand English, and so they want to help, they want to be nice, but you just always don't. With Adventures by Disney, they are, as you said, your personal paparazzi. They're getting pictures of your group, you're getting pictures of your family, and it's all included. I mean, think about it, right? So they're constantly taking pictures of the group and of your family at all the locations. They're getting group shots, things that you'll want to remember, things that you'll want to bring back. John will cherish that picture of him kissing the Blarney Stone forever. That's a once-in-a-lifetime memory. Yeah, he'll probably be back there, but you don't get to kiss the Blarney Stone the first time, but one time, right? Now he's got that photo.
Yeah. So again, it's those little things that were really great and that stood out to us that we really loved.
Yeah.
But overall, getting to the trip, it was about a 11-day, 12-night. Did I say that right? 11-day, 12-night? That's typically what it is. 12-day, 11-night?
Yeah, something like that.
So we flew into to Vietnam. We hit South, Central, and North Vietnam. So we flew into Ho Chi Minh City.
Right. There's a Hemingway quote that I love. I think it was Hemingway that said, "We went so far that we are almost started back again." Think about going so far around the world that you're almost started home again.
Yeah.
That's how Southeast Asia seems to be.
It
seems very far away.
It was a very long flight. We actually went up and over.
Okay.
So we went over sort of like the Arctic.
Okay.
Because there was actually a video camera on our plane, and then you could look out and see the ice tundra below you.
Wow.
So we were pretty much in sunlight the entire trip. Of course, you didn't know because you shut the blinds and plane, but it was a long flight.
Can you sleep on a plane? I have a hard time sleeping on a plane.
It depends. A couple glasses of wine. I could knock myself out for a little bit, but you make do. It's one of those you make do just to get there.
I sense a question of the week coming. Can you sleep on a plane? So anyway, I hear some of the places you went might have been kind of sets for movies that some of our viewers may have seen.
Yeah. Actually, there's the first one in Hanoi. There's
the Hanoi Hilton.
Well, we didn't go there. There was some people decided to go there, but we decided not to. But we stayed at the Metropole, which is, and I'm gonna mess this up. Hopefully, I'll get it. It is considered a diamond hotel.
Okay.
Like, it's been 5-star for 100 years or something.
Wow.
So it earned some sort of next level of
service. And that's one thing that we'll also tell you about Adventures by Disney. I can remember Josh Damara, who was the former vice president of Adventures by Disney, saying to me that their goal at Adventures by Disney is to never have a family sitting in a hotel or a restaurant, the dad with the kids looking up to him and saying, Daddy, why aren't we staying over there? You know, they want to stay in the nicest hotels in the city. I know, for example, on our Ireland ABD, we stayed at the Westin in Dublin. We stayed at the Killarney Park Hotel, which was just awesome. And we rounded it out in a little castle in Dromoland, which was just fantastic. I mean, you know, I looked out my window. You guys that follow me on Twitter and Facebook know that sometimes I put up my window on the world when I'm traveling. And yeah, we were out looking over the golf course and the lake with the swans. You know, their accommodations are nice, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, top notch all the way. Which again, it goes back to those little details of like, oh, I'm staying in a great place. You know, it makes it,
which is important.
It's really
you know,
important.
Halfway around the world, you don't want to be staying in some, you know, dump flea bag motel. You want to know when you get home from your tour, which, you know, you're busy during the day. You got a lot going on. You get back to your hotel. You want a nice clean bed, some nice clean sheets. You want a nice hotel. You want a nice breakfast in the morning.
And one thing about Southeast Asia, it is hot. When I tell you hot, it was hot. It was so hot. It was just really hot. I don't want to go into too much of the gory details of, you know, how many times we showered, but it was really hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hanoi then, we were going to talk about the movie set.
Oh, yeah. So Hanoi at the Metropole, Angelina Jolie stayed there, as well as Brad Pitt.
While you guys were there?
No, we wish. Would have had a drinking partner. But they were there for, I'm not sure if it was something to do with Mr. and Mrs. Smith with that movie, but they made reference to it because there was actually a tour of the hotel the hotel gives their own tour of their hotel because it's been around for so long. And actually when they were building an extended bar area, and they found a hidden bomb shelter from the Vietnam War that they didn't even know was there.
Wow.
So they uncovered that, and they made part of that as part of this tour. So anyway, and then the other hotel that we stayed in was in Cambodia. There was a movie called Tomb Raider that Angelina Jolie was in. And during the filming of that, she stayed at the hotel that we were in. She actually donated, there was a statue with these two lions that she actually donated to the hotel that she sent to them because she loved it there so much. But there's a great scene in Tomb Raider where they're at the temples of Angkor Wat, and there's this one where these trees grow out of these temples. And just to be there, and to see that in the movie, and to be there, it's just like, wow, like this is like really exists. And when you see the picture, you're going to be like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the tourism in Cambodia, because of that movie, or let me put it this way, prior to that movie, there was about 50,000 people per year visiting. After the movie, 500,000 and growing. It's now like been growing ever since. Like that was like right after the movie. Like all of a sudden, this tourism. So it's getting more crowded, to say the least. But it's incredible what a movie can do.
Yeah, and you know, I was going to say that's what travel is supposed to do to you. You know, when you have these iconic places in your mind, you know, it'll sound kind of corny, but it made such an impact on me because when I went to Washington, D.C. last year, it was my first time. I'd never been to D.C., right? But you have seen, I tell all the people when I travel, and they, you know, and I've gone to a lot of different places, and you know, I'll say, what is your favorite place to go? One of my favorite places to go was Washington, D.C., and I still remember walking up to the Lincoln Memorial and just thinking how big Mr. Lincoln looked, you know, because you've grown up seeing this thing. It's everywhere. It's in movies and, you know, coins and, you know, everything, right? You see the Lincoln Memorial. But, you know, when you actually stand there, and like you said, the scene from the movie, you know that you saw that in the movie, and now you're standing there.
Right.
You know, and when you stand in front of the Eiffel Tower, or when you stand in front of the Lincoln Memorial, or you stand in front of a scene you've seen from a movie. Last year, Andrew and I were fortunate enough, we go to Kauai and we see The Cave. One of my favorite movies of all times is Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. And we saw the opening of The Cave, where Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, goes in to retrieve the idol, you know, at the very beginning of the movie. And we saw the rope swing where he swung out to catch the seaplane to, you know, make his great escape. Yeah. And those things stick with you, right? When you're there and you know it and it's iconic, you take those memories away with you.
Right. And it's not so much that, ooh, it was in a movie, but it's like it puts this like reality stamp on it, like, wow, that's really there, and that's really amazing.
It is amazing. So, and that's what travel's supposed to do. I'm glad you got that, buddy. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was really cool. That was really cool.
So what else stood out? I mean, what is it about Southeast Asia? I know we hear about Vietnam, and just things I've seen. A lot of you guys know that I really love Anthony Bourdain, and when he went there, he talked about what a great place it was to go. There are emerging culinary talents there, and there's a great food scene in Vietnam. So how was the food? I'm sure that'd be a question for a lot of people,
right?
So how was the food?
So we're heavily influenced by the French, so they get a lot of that influence in the food, but it was really good. I mean, we ate so much, we outriced ourselves. If you could believe that, like we just couldn't get enough. It was just so good. And one of the things in the tour was a cooking class. So we learned how to make their spring rolls there with their thin I'm not gonna think of it, the rice paper, and it was just so good.
Yeah,
I mean, making it on your own and seeing it, it's like so. And they use so many fresh ingredients. It's all fresh over there. It's just like, here's what it is, and you make it, and it's really fun.
And again, that's one of those Disney differences right there. So they really try to immerse you in the culture. I know when we were in Germany, we went and we made pretzels in Rothenburg. So we made fresh pretzels there. If you do the Italy Adventures by Disney, you make your own fresh pizza, right? In Naples. Imagine that. When John and I were in Ireland, we went to a little Irish farmhouse, and Frances, dear Frances, taught us how to make fresh scones. And we made our own scones, and then she had us eat them at the end. And they were delicious. They were just awesome. So it just kind of immersed you. You don't just walk by the Eiffel Tower. You make rice. You make scones, and I tell you, that memory sticks with you. They sent us home with a scone making kit, right? So, now you can go home and you remember, I made scones in Ireland with a little dear, feisty Irish lady,
Yeah, absolutely. And all throughout the trip, it was, little gifts, if you will, and things that you make and learn and take back with you as these souvenirs.
Right.
Outside of the souvenirs you end up buying anyway, but
sure.
These things that you just we weren't really expecting it. So to have that be like, wow, that is so cool. Right. To do that. So.
And the guides are phenomenal, right? I mean, what did you think about the Adventure by Disney guides? They know the culture, they know the terrain, they know the locals, they know what's going on. They really, they almost make the trip, right?
Right. So our tour guide on this was, her name was Janae. And the local that was there.
Hi, Janae. Janae's actually been on our show a couple times.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
She's actually helped us out quite a bit, so that's interesting.
So she was fantastic.
Yeah, Janae is incredible. So go back and search some TWR episodes with Janae. I didn't even know that, so that was not prepared at all. But yeah, Janae is fantastic.
And then our local who was there, also for Adventures by Disney, his name was Tony, but he was a local from Vietnam. Just fantastic and so friendly. And they had it down. They knew the second, like, oh, I think I need a bottle of water. It's like, you no sooner think it, and here it is. Like, there you go. Like, oh, nice. How did you know that? You didn't read my mind. Nice. But, the guides were fantastic.
Right.
Yeah,
and tell us a little bit about the people. How were the local, not the Adventures by Guide, not the Adventures guides, but the actual locals? How were the people to you there?
Right. So, Vietnam, they were very friendly. Obviously there's some history there that I learned from them about what they thought the Vietnam War was to them versus us being there. But they were all very friendly. They were very welcoming. They understand that tourism is how they're going to make a lot of money for the country. But I can't.
With tourism growing 10 times, since this movie, that's pretty.
Well, that was in Cambodia.
In Cambodia. Okay.
Yeah. So and then there was Laos. So there was three countries on the tour, and they were all. Every country was, so welcoming and open and just as friendly as could be.
That's just awesome. And we found the Irish. I'm not going to say anything about Parisians. We found the Irish people were just phenomenal. Some of my favorite memories. And a lot of these times, I'm sure you felt this way. You went to probably Southeast Asia not really knowing what to expect, right? So we went to Ireland not really knowing what to expect. But one thing I did expect was to walk into a pub and order Irish whiskey and be able to sit there and have a conversation with a bartender or a local, and that exact thing happened not once, not twice, but many times throughout Ireland. And it was one of the things that I took away that I still remember and will enjoy and remember for a long time to come. Walking into a local pub, and them looking up, and not in a condescending or mean way, looking up and going, yeah, so what part of the States are you from? Or, you know,
yeah.
you know, but, and then, you know, you tell them you're from Florida and they just have an immediate connection. Well, my brother, he works in Tallahassee, or he lives in Tallahassee or Jacksonville or whatever, you know, and so, you know, they make an immediate connection with you, and the locals there, you know, the Irish people were just so friendly and warm. And, you know, and that's the other thing that I think that you take away from travel is to, you know, it's the food, it's the culture, it's the people that you're remembering you take away, right?
And when you get yourself immersed in that, you know, you really get a full understanding of, like you said, just how they live and how they are,
and we're all just people.
So
whether you're in Southeast Asia or Florida or Ireland or Timbuktu, you know, we're all just, you know, we've all got the same basic needs to connect and hang out and learn more about each other, right?
Absolutely. One of the things that Vietnam could use is some more traffic laws. So they, and I got some pictures of this. It was challenging because there's hundreds of thousands of motorcycles, mopeds that they ride.
Okay.
That's the primary mode of transportation there. And there's some cars that go by, and there's a video that they were showing us to kind of prepare us for what it was really like. So they show an American trying to walk across the street, and he takes a step out and he backs up because there's all these motorcycles coming back and forth, and he's like, oh, and he takes another step and he takes 2 more steps and he backs up again, thinking like this is an impossible thing to do, almost like a game of Frogger, right? Think of that. Then they show you
George Costanza,
Frogger. Then they show you a Vietnamese person doing it, and they literally step off of the sidewalk into the street, and they walk, and they don't stop, and they just walk across the street.
Wow.
And they, you know, we learn that they will get out of your way as long as you stay at the same pace that you start walking. Like, don't stop, don't second guess like where they're going. You just walk. And the first time you do that, let me tell you, man, it was exhilarating. Like, oh my God, we just did that. We got to do it again. And we actually went back and forth crossing the street, not really believing that. Like, I can't believe that this is how you do it. And so that was kind of neat, you know.
Sweet. Sweet.
Yeah.
So what else stuck out? I mean, what was your highlight of the trip? If you like went back and said the one big thing that I enjoyed most about Southeast Asia was.
Right. Probably the main reason we went was the temples at Angkor Wat in Cambodia. You know, these temples have been around for years and years and years, and they weren't uncovered until I guess the early 1900s is when they first started, because they all were grown over with trees and vegetation and things, and it's been uncovered, and this whole race of people, this is the other interesting thing, is they were there living in all these temples where it was, and then one day the king just went, yeah, there's no food here, we're going. And they packed up and left.
Wow. And
then it all got overgrown, and then it's got soon to be uncovered, you know, again in the early 1900s, and it's been slowly, people going to see them. Obviously the movie Tomb Raider was a big part of that, but just amazing that it's almost like going to see the pyramids in Egypt, and you go, how did they build this? Because not is it just, you know, temples, and we're going to be showing a bunch of pictures, I'm sure, but it's inside the temples are these carvings in stone that tell a story. Everywhere you look, there's these carvings, and it's like, how did they do that? You know, it's just amazing. I was there, and you know, it's one of those moments where you can just sit there and you're just in awe of these structures.
Wow.
And you just have to soak it in, and everywhere you looked, it was like, oh, there's another one. You know, you just sit there and just stare at these, and it was just fascinating.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I know when this itinerary came out, I know when Southeast Asia was introduced last year, you know, we looked at that, and Leslie wasn't real excited about it, but you know, I looked at it and I thought, you know, that's someplace I got to go. Now, after talking with you about it, I definitely kind of moved that up a couple notches on my list to think, you know, that's one of the places, one of the parts of the world I've never been that I think I'd really love to go to.
And I haven't either, and that was one of the reasons. It's like, okay, well, we're going to make this trip. And again, it wasn't a short flight by any stretch, but it was well worth it, you know.
Memories that'll last a lifetime.
Absolutely, you know, and we have the photos to prove it that we were there.
Absolutely.
And the pins and all that good stuff.
The pins are pretty cool, you know, the pin lanyard, the pin a day, you know, for you guys that have followed Adventures by Disney, that's one of the little Disney touches. Every day has a theme, every day has a word, and of course, every day has a pin to commemorate it, and by the end you have a filled up lanyard with with pins of the day.
Yeah,
right?
we didn't know that.
Nice.
Well, we went, it was like,
Well,
oh, okay. Like, I wonder if we're
cool.
going to get, I'm like, yeah, we're probably going to do that every day. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
It's
And
nice
every
to be
time you go
surprised.
back, you'll get another pin that says now you're a return. So you get a 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, well, there were some people that were on
Disney
the
pins.
trip that had a bunch. So.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm collecting quite a few myself. As a matter of fact, like I said, Tony and I are getting ready to go on Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic. We'll probably already been by the time this is shown. So we're probably scheduling that video for you to come soon. We're going to be telling you all about Carolwood Railway and all about LA and Southern California and all the places that Walt went and really cool stuff around Disney. So Adventures by Disney are an immersive, educative, just incredible adventure. To use part of the name. It really is an adventure by Disney. It's not a Mickey Mouse trip, pardon the pun, but it's not all characters and Disney magic.
No.
But it's Disney magic to open up a location for you, to make you feel like you didn't just visit Southeast Asia. Now you know a lot about the culture.
Absolutely.
You know a lot about the people. You really got immersed into it for a short time, right?
For as long as you could be there, it's like you're really part of it.
Yeah, so they really open up a part of the world to you, and you know more about it. Well, dude, thanks a lot for coming out and talking to us about this. It's just incredible. I have been looking forward. I've been wanting to get together with you to hear about this trip and hear how you enjoyed it. So I'm so glad that you guys had a great time.
And there's a ton more than I mentioned. Obviously, there was horseback riding and Tai Chi, morning Tai Chi. There was climbing a mountain up in Laos with the Buddhist monks. It goes on and on.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Well, now you've given me an itch that I feel like one day I'm going to have to scratch and go to Southeast Asia. So you never know. Maybe we'll be going back there sometime on Travel with Rick. Ken, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, so you've been on this show before. You kind of know how this works a little bit. Guys, Ken's going to ask you a question of the week. Leave us a comment below. What do you think, buddy?
I think we want to stick with the long flight theme, and maybe we'll go. Where is the furthest country you've traveled to?
Very
or the
interesting.
longest flight? I guess that would be one and the same.
Okay.
Not necessarily. We'll go along furthest country.
All right. So furthest country you travel to. So hit us
Not really
below.
a question. It's sort of like just tell us where you've been.
Just kind of fill us in. We want to know about you.
Yeah.
So let us know what's going on with you. What's the furthest place that you guys have traveled? So how long was your flight?
Well, the longest flight was 15 hours.
Hmm?
Going. There was a couple of little flights on each end of that, but that was a long stretch.
It's a long time on a plane.
Coming home, though, it was only 13.
Only 13
But
hours.
that's because the shorter flights on each end were longer, therefore it cut the longest trip down. So, like I said, it was long no matter how you look at it.
Wow.
I'm
telling you, it was so far away we'd almost started heading back home again.
yeah, exactly. It's like, where are we? And internet is just, it's okay. By the way, for those who need the internet over there, it's like, they do have it, especially in the nicer hotels.
Yeah, that's the way Ireland was. It was kind of spotty, I mean, it was spotty in some places. Some places we had really good connections. So, it's part of the challenge of traveling too. It's like you gotta kind of learn to bend a little bit.
I was able to check on Foursquare over there, so there's that going on.
Yeah, you gotta bend. You gotta give a little. You gotta listen a little harder to try to understand people. I know it was probably different in Southeast Asia. One of the things I enjoyed about Ireland was that it's still basically an English-speaking country. They speak their own Gaelic and and whatnot, but it's still it's English with a heavy accent for us. So you got to kind of listen a little closer. You got to pay attention a little more. But again, that's what travel does, right?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Guys, thanks for watching. Answer Ken's question below. Tell us the furthest place you travel. I'd be interested to see your comments. Your comments are very, very important to us. We love it. Love hearing about it. Listen, thanks for watching. So long, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
At Kingdom Magic Vacations, we believe that life should be measured out in memories. For over 17 years, Kingdom Magic Vacations has specialized in making vacation dreams come true for families visiting Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, and Adventures by Disney. Kingdom Magic Vacations has been honored as an authorized Disney vacation planner, and that means we are recognized by Disney as a leader in planning magical vacations to Disney destinations. Our knowledge and experience allows our travel professionals to custom tailor your Disney vacation and make them truly magical. We know that each moment you spend on vacation creates a memory that lasts a lifetime. You can start planning your magical Disney vacation by visiting kingdommagic.com today.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching this week's show. We're here in the atrium of the Brilliance of the Sea on Royal Caribbean, having an awesome cruise. Got a day here at sea. Wanted to thank you for watching our show and remind you to stick your email address up there in the upper right hand corner. That way you'll be signed up for our notifications and you won't miss a thing here on Travel with Rick. Every time we post something new, you'll be the first to hear about it. And if you want to find out more about what's going on with Travel with Rick, check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/travelwithrick. Over there is where we post our question of the week. We tell you where we're going, talk about where we've been, and you can also hang out with other Travel with Rick friends right there. And if you're on iTunes or YouTube, we've got channels for you over there as well. So if you're into that, check those out. You'll love it. Okay, so you never know where we're going to be. Check us out right back here next week for another episode of Travel with Rick. So long, everybody.